This video is the continuation of part 1 of Deep Water written by William Douglas. And then, in the midst of the terror, at the time when terror had overpowered the author, there came a touch of reason. He must remember to jump. So the author thought that I must remember to jump when I hit the bottom. And somehow he felt the tiles, the surface, the bottom of the swimming pool under him. His toes reached out as if to grab them. He jumped with all his strength, but the jump made no difference. Water was still around him, meaning that he could not come out. He was looking for ropes, ladder, water wings, anything, last straw which could take him out, but there was nothing but a mass of yellow water. Stark terror took an even deeper hold on him, like a great charge of electricity. So, in a second, in a flash of moment, he was panicked, he was terror attacked. He shook and trembled with fright. His arms could not move. Now, because of this panic attack, he was not able to move. His legs would not move. His arms would not move. He tried to call for help, to call for mother. We all remember our mothers in the time of crisis, but nothing happened. And strangely, there was light. So suddenly he felt that there was light. He was coming out of the yellow water. At least his eyes were. His nose was almost out too. So let's see what happens next. Now the author started down a third time. He sucked for air, but instead he got water inside, which made even difficult for him to breathe. The yellowish light was going out. It means he was about to faint. Then all effort ceased. I relaxed. It means now the panic has taken over the author completely and he's about to faint now. Even my legs felt limp and a blackness swept over my brain. So he cannot see anything, he cannot feel anything. Now, this blackness, it wiped out fear, it wiped out terror. Earlier, he was afraid of death. Now, here we see that he's accepting death. There was no more panic, it was quiet and peaceful, nothing to be afraid of. Now, he has started to accept death. He has realized that his efforts are going to be in vain, and however hard he tries, he cannot come out of the pool. So he says it is nice to be carried gently, to float along in space, tender arms around me like mothers. So he imagines that this is the end of his life, and this is how it must feel when a person nears his death. Now I must go to sleep. Now this sleep is the eternal sleep of death. I crossed to oblivion. Oblivion means he's unaware of the pain, of the panic around him. So here, death is not seen something that we must be afraid of, but something that gives redemption, that gives freedom from the pain of life. And the curtain of life fell. Remember Seven Ages by William Shakespeare, where he has compared life of human beings to a stage. So here, if our life is a stage, then with our death, the curtain of life would fall. But he did not die. He was rescued by someone else. The next he could remember was lying on his stomach, and beside the pool he was vomiting. The chap, the big bruiser boy that threw me in, he was saying that his intention was not to put him in danger. He was only fooling, he was only joking. Someone said the kid nearly died. It means if the author would not have been saved in time, he would be dead by now. Be alright now, but now he is fine. Now he was carried back to the locker room several hours. After resting several hours, he was able to walk, but he was still weak and trembling. He shook and cried when he lay on his bed, which means the trauma, the fear that he had, he could not forget it. The fear had overpowered him. He had become a victim of aquaphobia. For days a haunting fear was in my heart. The slightest exertion upset him. He could not bear any kind of exertion, making me wobbly in the knees. He had become weak physically and mentally. He never went back to the pool. I have already told you in the beginning of the video that people who develop aquaphobia, they refrain from going near any water body. He feared water and he avoided water whenever he could. He did not go near any water body. Now it's time for recapitulation. Who is narrator? Narrator is William O. Douglas, who is the writer of the prose. Why did the author develop aversion to water? The author developed aversion to water because when he was 3 to 4 years old, once his father took him to California Beach where he was buried under the sea waves. After that, he had a near drowning experience in the swimming pool. Therefore, he developed aversion to water. How did he fell into the swimming pool? He was pushed or thrown into the swimming pool by a big bruiser boy who was much older to him. He was 18 years old and the author was 10 to 11 years old. What was his strategy to save himself? Now, the strategy of the author to save himself was that he would hit the bottom of the pool, he would push himself towards the surface, then he would lie flat on the surface and swim towards the edge. How did the author face fear while drowning? Till the author was in his senses, he tried to save himself to the best possible extent. But once he lost consciousness, he accepted death and he submitted to death. What impact did this mishappening have on the mind of author? Because of this mishappening, the author developed a strong aversion, or rather he developed a fear of water, aquaphobia. He had strong anxiety whenever he went near any water body. This was it for today's video. We'll continue the story in the next video, in the next class. Your assignment, you can do it in your literature notebook. You have to make two notebooks, one for reading and writing section and the other one for literature section. And all the assignments you can do in your literature notebook. Thank you.